Well, hello everybody. Not as cold today, so we're out in the shop. We're playing with our police interceptor today. First thing we've done, I've already put the spotlights on. They came, so we bolted those on. I didn't video that. It's a very simple couple screws and plug in one wire. That's the kind of thing I'm quite sure anybody can figure out how to do. And there's already a number of videos on how to do this. Now, the other thing that we had to do with this car is the rear doors were non-functional. The outside handle worked. That's the only way you could actually open the door. The locks do work through the central locking system from the driver's door. And the window will go up and down, but from the driver's door only. So on the inside of the rear doors, the handle on the inside does not function. The lock rods are not there. They're gone. And the window switch doesn't work. So that's what we have to get working. I've already done the left rear door. So what we have left to do is we still have to do the right rear door. And we'll go through and we'll do this one together. Alright, so here we go. The first thing that I will say is this is essentially how I do it. There's other ways. Some may be better, some may be not. But this is just the way that I do it. And that's all that it is. Some people like the way I do things, some people don't, and that's perfectly fine. So the first thing you got to do is pop this little cover out of here, and there's a Torx head screw in there, which should require, I don't know, didn't even say. It's like a T25, T30. You remove that screw. Now, when you get working on these, the thing is, a lot of times, you never know. Yeah, remove that screw. You never know what they've done, especially when stuff is disabled. Sometimes it's very straightforward. Other times they get fancy with it. Now, in addition to the screw, there's two clips in the top of this that hold this in, and they're usually broken, as these ones were, but that's okay because the screw holds it in. And sorry about the lighting. I've messed around with it here and got it as good as I can. So this comes off. Now, one of the ways that they disable the doors on these is just take this pin out. Because if you take this pin out of the handle, then there's nothing that fits in here and moves your latch. But seeing that the pin is there, it's a pretty good indication that there's no rod attached to this. So the next thing you got to do is you've got to take the switch panel off. Now I start from the front on these, work your way back, and we'll unhook it. Right there. Do we have some side cutters? We've got a knife. You can have one of these cars that's actually been worked on by two different people when they were outfitted, and sometimes they're different from side to side. Hopefully that won't be the case here. Now, once you get that piece off, right down inside here, move that other way, there's a screw. And we'll take it so You see the, hopefully that's focusing on it. You can see the screw down there on there. We got to take that out. These door panels don't have any clips on them. There's 2 of these screws. And that's it. And then the door basically just lifts off of a couple of I'll show you when I get it off. There's like little hooks that the door panel hooks onto. Now down in the bottom, down here, there's also another screw you got to take out. So you got to take that screw out, and that will remove our door panel as far as attachment hardware. And then all you do is just pick up on it, and it comes right off. Door panel's gone. Okay. So, the other thing I'll throw out there is that when you get these open, leave the window up. Don't put the window down. By leaving the window up, that will give you a lot more room to work on the inside of the door. Now, as we get this going here, a couple things. This plate, which holds our handle latch, we've got to take that off. So we'll have to cut these rivets off and take this plate off. Now the other thing that we've got to do is we've got to take out the 3 screws here and take our latch out. And hopefully, I don't know what we're going to see inside there, but you can probably see the lock rod right there going to this one right here, going to the latch. Now that's already unhooked on this one, so, but that is something else that you would want to unhook. None of the other rods are there. They're all missing. The rod and the lock assembly is gone, and the rod for the handle is not there. I have those pieces, and we'll be putting those in. So I'm going to cut these rivets off, take that off, and then I'm going to take out those screws and remove our latch. Now the only other thing that you need to do here, let's see if I can get some light in there, is you have to disconnect, and you'll see back in there that yellow clip. You have to pop that clip from your latch, and that disconnects the outer handle. So I'm going to do all that, and I'll be back. So, alright, we've got our latch assembly out, and this rod here is the rod that goes up to our door inside lock handle. Okay, and that rod goes up here in this upper hole. This bottom hole, this rod right here, is what goes to our power door lock actuator. Now the little clip, which is supposed to be the same as the top on the bottom there, was broken. There wasn't too much left of that, so I got lucky and I went digging through my bag of tricks and I come up with that one, which will work just fine. And then your bottom one here is the one that goes over to your handle, which we've taken off. Now, there are people that I've seen videos from that will put these rods and stuff in without taking all this stuff out. And I'll be honest with you, what they're doing is they're bending these rods, And that's all fine as long as you can get them in. But the problem is, if you bend these and you don't get them bent back to the way they're supposed to be, the way they're supposed to be, what you've done is you've effectively shortened or lengthened, more likely shortened the rod. So they're not going to work as well. So that's why I take this stuff out, and as we put it back in, it makes it very, very easy. Basically what we'll do is we'll just take these two rods together like that, and our other one, we'll put the latch into the door, put it back, start our screws on the back side, and then, hook these things up and put these two things on the other end where we have a lot of room to work around. So to me, it just makes it a lot easier. And like I say, these rivets, okay, so we zipped them off. So all I'm going to do is put some bolts in it. I got some bolts here with locking nuts, and those there will be what holds that in. And then we got this bushing, a little bit longer bolt. These are 1/2 inch. These are 1/4 by 1/2. This is 1/4 by 3/4. And we'll put that in with that. And that's what goes through this hole here, is all this here. And it'll all make sense once we get it put back together. The only other thing I will caution is when you put your latch back in, make sure this here, which is your child's safety latch, basically you flick this lever and it deactivates this. So the inside handle will not work. Make sure that when you put this back in, you have this in, there's a slot in the door that goes in. Make sure that you get it in the slot, because it's real easy to get it off the side of it. It gets bent, it gets jammed, and you don't notice, and you got your screws all in, and it's just a real pain. So pay attention to that and get it in. The other thing I do is, you notice that I've lubricated all this stuff. Lubricate these latches really well while you have them out and on the bench. It's the best way to do it. Spray them up real good. I put white grease on our linkages and stuff so everything moves properly. Okay, so now we can put all this stuff back into the door. And here's the clip on the other side that I was talking about that you undo, and it just flips up. Yeah, actually, it was like that. So it flipped up this way, and that releases the rod from your outer door handle. This switch, I think it's a door ajar warning, possibly. On these particular cars, it's not used. Now, of course, I suppose it also could be for the dome light. The dome light on this car is what's called a dark car. Essentially, the dome light functions if you turn the switch on the dash, but it does not work with the doors. It used to be that you could have it either way. You could have it a dark car or a normal dome light, and back behind the glove box there was a connector, and if you had it connected it would work one way, and if you disconnected it would work another way. So it's pretty easy to change it back and forth. But the newer ones, starting in I think 2003 or 4, the dome light is programmed through the lighting module. So the only way to actually turn your dome lamp on now is to go to Ford, and you have to flash program the module to turn that on. So that's the dome light thing. So that might actually be what that switch is for, to be honest with you. It would make sense. It's either door ajar or possibly dome light. I'm not sure. Anybody knows, pop it in the comment. Not that it really matters on this car. Like I say, it's a dark car, and I don't care. That doesn't bother me. The ticket light on the inside works. The dome light does work with the switch. The spotlights on the dome light do work with the switches. So I don't really care that it opens with the door or not. Okay, so let's put all this happy house stuff back in. All right, so we've got our latch back in, and we've got our 3 screws in the back, you know, in there. I didn't tighten them up, I left them loose so things will move around a little bit. And as you can see, our rods, see this one goes, there's our bushing that I was talking about. That's the hole that's used. So what we got to do is we got to put this on the end of our rod, which is not too bad to do. Get it turned correctly here. Like I say, it's a lot easier to do this when you're fishing all this stuff through this way, I think, anyways. But like I say, people tend to disagree, and that's fine. Whatever way works for you, you know. And then we fish this. See, I don't know if you can see, but we fish this up through there like that. Okay. So we got that up there, and the little bell crank is right here, right behind there. So then we take the longer screw that we had, and we put that through from the back side through the bushing. Put a flat washer on it and a lock nut. Now what we'll do is we're going to tighten that up, but we're not going to tighten it all the way because it still has to pivot. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave our lock nut just slightly loose in there, and then we'll be good. Because if you tighten it all the way up, it won't be able to pivot and it won't work. So tighten it up. There you go. I can move the lever up and down. Hopefully you guys can see something here. I can move the lever up and down right here, and our lock is working. Okay, so that's the first thing that we hook up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up inside the door. You guys can see something here. I'm going to go up inside the door. I need my light. Probably. It's hard working inside a door and getting you guys something to look at. So I'll get my light in there. We've got to hook up our outside rod from our door handle. And like I say, I apologize. I can't see anything. But the rod just goes in. The rod just, this is really hard to get. The rod just goes in, and the little clip snaps shut on it. Alright, so we've got that. That's hooked up. So the next thing that we're going to hook up is this. And this is our inside handle. And what we'll do here is we're just going to slide this over there like so. And we'll put this back in the door with our bolts, our 3 bolts. And I put them through the back. And get those in. Alright, so I'm going to put those in. I'm going to tighten it up. At this point, I'm going to go through and I'm going to tighten our latch on the back as well. Okay, so our front little plate is tightened up and the rod hooked to it. Our upper rod is in here, and that's connected here our power lock rod that I'm sure you can't see is hooked up. Our outer rod is hooked up. So mechanically everything is hooked back up. And like I say, we've got our child safety is in the little slot. Like I say, that's pretty important. Make sure that's there. It's real easy to mess that up. So now, the only thing left we have to repair is our power window. And as you can see, how they disconnect that is they essentially cut that wire right there. That's how they disable the switch on the door. Now you might say, well, why don't they just unplug it? Well, if you see all these other wires, these have a lot to do with the other functions as far as the central locking system. If you were to just unhook all this stuff, you wouldn't be able to lock the door at all from the driver's door. So by cutting this wire, the red wire with the blue tracer on it, all that does is cancel this switch function, but everything else works normally. So I'm going to solder these back together and tape them up, and then I'm going to put our door panel back on. And it's very important to keep these in place and make sure that they're reinstalled properly, because they do make a difference in the car. And I'll put the panel back on, put everything back in, and we'll come back and we'll see how we did. So, door panel's back on, switches soldered up. Let's see how we did, everybody. Okay. It's on. Here's that window. Okay, works good from the door. Let's go lock. Is in fact locked. Like that, and it does in fact unlock. So that's good. Okay, so the locks are good. Let's try our window. Windows up, windows down. Okay. Shut the door. Inside latch. Okay, works fine. Everything is working. That's good. Of course, we did just, lock ourselves out of the car. Okay. Doors are now fully functional. Oops. All right. Okay, and that's how you do it. That's how you put the doors back together. Like I said, there's different ways that they deactivate stuff, but that's the most common. Oh, spotlight. Okay. Get that working. So, all right. Okay. Got it. So that's it. That's all she wrote for this one. I don't know anything else that we're gonna do today. That's enough. So, anyways. That's how you do that. I have had some comments and criticism in the past when we're doing these things that I don't go in depth enough. I don't show every little, screw coming out, and like I said, I didn't, show every little step of putting stuff back together and things. My feeling is we'll hit the high points of this so everybody gets the idea. The important thing is like where the rods go on the latch and stuff. The rest of the stuff, anybody with normal mechanical intelligence can figure that stuff out. And if you need every little single thing on something as simple as these doors, then, I don't know, might not be the type of thing you want to delve into. But anyways, I hope we got some stuff down there. Well, I couldn't find an awful lot that was good on putting these doors back together for videos out there. So hopefully this will help somebody. But once again, this is just the way I do it. Everybody has their own way. Other people do it differently. But I do it this way. It works. We have functional doors. I'm happy. Yay. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, what's up next? We have these boxes right here behind me are all of our new brakes. So we got to put new brakes on it all the way around, and we'll give the wheels a fresh coat of paint while they're off. Make those look nice. They are scratched up a little bit from the full wheel covers that were on it, so we'll get rid of those. Those marks make them look nice, and they're getting. Kind of it. There's a couple mounts still in the back for the cage. I'm going to take those out, but that's not really anything that's super interesting. That I don't know if we need to video that. So yeah. So I'm going to leave this one here, and if I come up with something else that's interesting, I'll turn the camera back on and. I want to thank everybody for watching. So thank you very much for commenting, subscribing, like, dislike. It's all good. Do whatever you think. And we'll continue on, and we'll see you all again. So until the next time, take it easy.